Everyone was stunned when archaeologists in Jerusalem unexpectedly stumbled upon what they believed was King Solomon's tomb.
An Israeli archaeologist says he found the legendary citadel.
This is the first time that such an item is found ever.
They were actually hunting for King David's lost temple, but what they found turned everything upside down.
This is one of the most important texts you've never heard of.
King Solomon is an intriguing figure.
King Solomon, it's described, he had access to some type of a flying machine.
This discovery threw open new debates about how old stories and modern findings intersect, pushing experts to dig deeper. What incredible secrets were hidden inside Solomon's tomb that shocked everyone? Join us as we uncover the startling discoveries hidden within these ancient walls. Archaeology's biggest find. Dr. Mazar, a respected scientist and archaeologist, believed in letting the evidence speak for itself. She often said, "We must let the stones speak." Her work was praised by Hershel Shanks in a 2007 article in Biblical Archaeology review for her professionalism and expertise. Unlike many scientists who separate science and religion, Mazar had no problem using biblical texts in her research. This approach was unusual among her peers. Mazar's work drew a lot of attention to the historical and biblical significance of the site. It also sparked a bigger discussion about the connection between historical texts and archaeological evidence. Her discoveries and methods have inspired more exploration and debate about one of history's most famous figures, showing how ancient stories and modern science can work together to reveal the past. When archaeologists first saw the huge wall, they were amazed by its size. They thought it might be part of a bigger building, maybe a temple or a palace. Their excitement grew when they considered that this place might be from the time of King Solomon. Radiocarbon dating confirmed the ruins were from Solomon's era, making it a big find. This was the first time they had found a structure from that time that might be linked to Solomon's grand buildings in Jerusalem. But there was still a question. Could it have been built by a different king? Near the wall, archaeologists found pottery that dated the construction to the late 10th century BCE, the time of Solomon. In a nearby building called the Gat House, they discovered large storage jars, one of which had a Hebrew inscription showing it belonged to a high-ranking government official. They also found figurines from that time, depicting animals and women, likely symbols of fertility. Handles of jars were inscribed with "to the king," and various Hebrew names, suggesting a connection to an important biblical king. Finding this wall in the Ophel area, one of the oldest parts of Jerusalem, was a historic breakthrough. It offered new insights into the city's past and its biblical connections, supporting the idea that King Solomon was a powerful ruler of a vast kingdom. This challenges the idea that he was just a minor tribal leader. The city of David, named after Solomon's father, is thought to be the oldest part of Jerusalem. It is just south of today's Old City and is believed to be where David set up his capital after taking Jerusalem from the Jebusites. Excavations here have been extensive, uncovering many ancient buildings and artifacts that shed light on early Jerusalem. Known also as Wadi Hilwe, this site on Jerusalem's eastern ridge contains remains from the Bronze and Iron Ages, including the large stone structure and the stepped stone structure, which experts debate might be linked to King David or a later period. Jerusalem's past keeps unfolding with each new find. Jerusalem's hidden waterways. Another amazing discovery here is the Siloam Tunnel, also called Hezekiah's Tunnel. This engineering feat was built to bring water into the city. It was traditionally thought to be from Hezekiah's time, but recent digs suggest it might be even older. This tunnel, along with Roman-era finds like the Pool of Siloam and the street, showcases the advanced engineering of ancient Jerusalem's people, providing a direct link to the city's rich history and its ongoing importance in archaeology and history. New digs in Jerusalem Walls National Park have uncovered parts of the historical landscape. This park is managed by the Israel Nature and Parks Authority and run by the Elad Foundation. These finds are in Wadi Hilwe, next to the Palestinian neighborhood of Silwan in East Jerusalem, and near an Israeli settlement. One big discovery is a large stone structure. Some think it could be King David's palace. If true, this would confirm the area, known as the City of David, as a central hub of power during the reigns of King David and Solomon. Finding this is especially important because, until now, archaeologists have struggled to find any royal burial sites from the time of Solomon or his descendants. The challenge is due to several reasons. First, the City of David is very large, and not every part has been dug up yet. Many secrets might still be buried underground. Also, Jerusalem's long and troubled history, with many wars and invasions, may have destroyed or damaged many old structures. These ruins might be covered by newer buildings. Despite these obstacles, archaeologists keep searching for these royal tombs. They know that finding them could change our understanding of ancient Israelite rulers and their burial practices. Even without finding the tombs, the artifacts uncovered in the City of David are very valuable. They help scientists and historians put together a clearer picture of Jerusalem's past and the lives of its ancient people during the United Monarchy. Before discovering the tombs, many interesting theories and guesses about their locations were discussed by scholars. One idea was that Solomon's tomb might be under the Temple Mount. This site is very important to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Muslims call it Haram al-Sharif, the noble sanctuary, and believe it's where Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven during his night journey on a winged horse, celebrated by the Dome of the Rock. The Temple Mount has been central in many historical events, being taken over by different groups like the Jebusites, Israelites, Babylonians, Greeks, Persians, Romans, Byzantines, early Muslims, Crusaders, Mamluks, Ottomans, and the British. Despite its rich history, archaeologists haven't explored the Temple Mount much. The Islamic Council, the Waqf, which manages the site, has usually not allowed extensive digs, seeing them as disrespectful to the sacred space. Apart from some secret explorations of its caves and tunnels in the late 19th century, and a few small digs during renovations in the early 20th century, much of the Temple Mount's history remains hidden. This makes it very hard to confirm the exact location of Solomon's tomb, leaving many questions unanswered about this ancient site. Hidden treasures under Jerusalem await discovery, chambers beneath the Temple Mount. The idea of hidden chambers beneath the Temple Mount is fascinating, but still unproven. Without proper investigations, these claims about secret spaces under this sacred site remain speculative. Historical records and cultural stories also mention royal burials around the Temple Mount. Ancient texts suggest that kings, including Solomon, might have been buried near this holy place, adding to the mystery of Solomon's tomb. One compelling reason to think Solomon's tomb could be near the Temple Mount is its connection to the first temple, built by King Solomon himself. This temple was a major place of worship for the Israelites, supporting the idea that Solomon might be buried close by. Some historical writings hint at hidden chambers and passages beneath the Temple Mount, which could contain tombs or important artifacts. Limited archaeological work around the Temple Mount has not yet provided clear proof of Solomon's tomb. These investigations are done carefully to protect the site. Many fascinating artifacts and structures have been found, but the question of Solomon's tomb remains unanswered. If it is there, it would be a monumental discovery for archaeologists and history enthusiasts alike. But this isn't the most puzzling part. Another theory points to Zedekiah's cave, also called Solomon's Quarries, as a possible location. This large underground limestone quarry under the Muslim quarter of Jerusalem spans 5 city blocks. It is believed to have supplied stone for Solomon's temple and is the largest quarry in Jerusalem. The durable Meliki limestone from here was ideal for royal buildings. The cave has a rich history, with legends of King Zedekiah hiding there from Babylonian forces and connections to the Freemasons. Today, the cave is open for tours, though some parts are closed for safety and research. Yet this isn't the only intriguing aspect. Besides Zedekiah's cave, Hezekiah's tunnel is also considered a possible hiding spot for Solomon's tomb. This tunnel, built during King Hezekiah's reign to secure water in case of an Assyrian attack, connects the Gihon Spring to the Pool of Siloam. It runs under the city, passing by historical sites like Warren's Gate. Other suggested locations for Solomon's tomb include Mount Zion, traditionally linked with the city of David. However, this is based on a misunderstanding. King David's actual burial site is in the southeastern part of Jerusalem's Old City, known as the City of David. French archaeologist Raymond Vile's early 20th century excavations in this area uncovered structures he thought were royal tombs, complicating the historical narrative around these sacred sites. While Mount Zion was long believed to be David's burial place, it's now thought that he was actually buried south of the Temple Mount, in the city of David. But this isn't the only twist in the story. Historically, people believed that King David, Solomon's father, was buried on Mount Zion. But this isn't true. King David was actually buried in the southeastern part of the real old city of Jerusalem, which is south of the Temple Mount, in an area now known as the City of David. The Bible says that King David died and was buried in the City of David. He ruled over Israel for 40 years, 7 years in Hebron, and 33 years in Jerusalem. After David died, Solomon became king. Solomon's tomb and its legends grow more intriguing. The misplaced legacy of Mount Zion. During the Middle Ages, Byzantine pilgrims got confused and thought a hill south of today's Old City's Armenian quarter was part of ancient Jerusalem. They called it Mount Zion, but the city that David captured was on a lower hill south of the Temple Mount. This lower hill was where the Jebusite city was, which became King David's capital. This area was all of Jerusalem for over 200 years, until it expanded to include what we now call Mount Zion. The wrong idea that King David was buried on Mount Zion lasted for centuries. The 2nd century CE, after Jerusalem was destroyed and Jews were expelled, people forgot where King David's tomb really was. The Bible gives a clue about the royal burial site, saying that King David, his son King Solomon, and the kings of Judah who came after were buried in the City of David. This is a part of what we call the City of David today. Then came a twist. In 1913, French archaeologist Raymond Vile dug up what he believed were tombs in Jerusalem's City of David, possibly the royal burial place of the earliest Old Testament kings. Some scholars question this, but archaeologist Jeff Zorn's look at the evidence suggests Vile might have been right. For a long time, King David's tomb was wrongly thought to be on Mount Zion, based on the 1st century CE historian Josephus. But older biblical references point to David and many other Old Testament kings being buried near the southern end of the City of David in ancient Jerusalem. Archaeologist Jeff Zorn thinks 2 quarried-out tunnels in the City of David might have held the remains of these early Old Testament kings. In the 19th century, diplomat and explorer Charles Claremont Ganneau thought Hezekiah's tunnel gave an important clue. He suggested the tunnel's winding path near its southern end was made to avoid disturbing the ancient burial grounds above. Raymond Vile did more excavations in the City of David in 1913, 1914, and again in 1923, 1924. Though the area was later disturbed by quarrying, Vile found ancient walls, ritual pools, cisterns, and a circular tower now believed to be part of the old city's defenses. A French archaeologist named Louis Félicien de Saulcy started what many see as the first modern archaeological dig in Jerusalem. He wanted to find proof that the tombs he was uncovering belonged to the biblical kings David and Solomon. During his search, he found several coffins, one of which is now in the Louvre Museum in Paris. This particular coffin has 2 lines of Aramaic writing that say, "The Queen Sadan" and "Sada the Queen." The site known as the Tomb of the Kings, despite its name, does not actually hold the remains of David or Solomon. The name stuck from medieval European beliefs, which have now been proven wrong. These tombs, built in the 1st century CE, were used over many centuries. New discoveries bring us closer to the ancient kings, the royal burial grounds of ancient Jerusalem. De Saulcy's tombs are thought to be part of what might have been the royal burial ground for the Old Testament kings of ancient Jerusalem. 3 notable tombs, called T1, T2, and T3, have drawn significant attention. Over time, some have wondered if Solomon's true tomb was hidden to protect it from thieves and invaders, a common practice for royal burials in ancient times. But that's not all. These tombs, with features like rock-cut rooms identified as part of a columbarium, a place to store ashes, suggest a high level of respect and protection for those buried there. This hints that they could indeed be part of a royal burial site. Supporting this idea, artifacts like bullae and seals found in the nearby City of David date back to Solomon's time. These items, inscribed with names from the biblical records, offer clues that might point to Solomon's actual tomb. and there's more intrigue. The legend of the Seal of Solomon, a ring said to give Solomon the power to command supernatural beings and talk to animals, adds to the mystery. This ring, often shown as a pentagram or hexagram, was first mentioned by the Jewish historian Josephus in the 1st century. It appears in various Jewish mystical and magical texts. The ring's legendary power makes Solomon's life even more fascinating and fuels the ongoing search for his tomb. The continued research and discoveries in Jerusalem keep adding layers to this captivating story, mixing historical facts with the enduring legends of one of history's most famous biblical kings. Archaeologists found 6 clay seals in a small site in Israel that might confirm the existence of the biblical kings David and Solomon. Many scholars think these figures are fictional and believe no significant kingdom existed when the Bible says they reigned. However, this discovery hints at some level of organized rule at that time, showing the area's importance as an administrative center during Solomon's era. But this isn't the most surprising part. The potential discovery of King Solomon's tomb would be a huge milestone in both archaeological and biblical history. Finding Solomon's resting place is a big focus for many, with some experts suggesting that using non-invasive technologies like ground-penetrating radar could help explore the site without causing damage. What if these discoveries challenge our understanding of biblical history? Like, comment, and subscribe for more.